Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matty Collins and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm super pumped because we're talking about the new 16-35 Sony f4 lens. And I thought when this came out, when I first heard about it, I was super pumped. I thought it was gonna be a no-brainer because I myself have been in the market for a wide-angle lens for this full-frame E-mount system for quite some time now. But unfortunately, it wasn't quite that. It wasn't a sure thing. And so in this video, I just wanted to share you guys why I won't be picking it up and give you guys some other options that you can just think about in your research before going out and picking up this f4 lens. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Let's dive in. If you guys are new here, hi. I'm Matty Collins, and on this channel we talk about everything photography, filmmaking with an emphasis on gear. So the first thing I want to talk about is similar offerings for this E-mount system. The first one we're going to talk about is the Tamron 17-28 2.8 aperture lens, and that one comes in at $899 US. Another option is a prime that's actually really amazing if aperture matters to you. It's the 20mm Sony G, and that's a 1.8 aperture. The Tamron will be really good in comparison to the 16-35. It'll be really good for versatility, and if you just want to save a few bucks, Tamron's the way to go. Save about $300 there. And the last one is the old school version of this lens. So it is a 16-35 f4. However, if stabilization is really important to you, maybe this is the route you want to go, and you can probably pick one up used for a really good price. All right, so I really want to talk about this lens in terms of stabilization. So this has no stabilization within the lens itself, and that kind of reflects on the price a little bit as it is a little bit lower range for a Sony lens. It's a 16-35, so on that 16mm wide angle, you probably won't notice the jitters as much with the handshake, but you are certainly gonna notice on 35. So for video shooters, this isn't the best thing in the world. If you do have active stabilization though, in your camera body, this is a really good route to go if your lens doesn't have stabilization. So there is a workaround, even though the 16-35 f4 does not have stabilization. But bear in mind, if you are using active stabilization, that does come in at a 1.1 times crop. Stabilization within a lens is important to me, so that's one of the reasons I won't be picking up this new lens. But I do have active stabilization within my Sony a7 IV, and that's pretty good. I just don't like dealing with crops, especially on the wider end of things, because I like to, if I buy an expensive wide angle lens, I like to use all of that. Next up, let's talk a little bit about quality on this new 16-35 f4. So I know it is an upgrade in sharpness and quality, so that does have a lot going for it. But at the end of the day, I do know that the Sony 20mm 1.8 is also just amazing sharpness, and same with the Tamron 17-28, and also the 16-35 old version is no slouch either. So again, I'm not completely sold that this will be a game changer in terms of quality. If you guys are finding value in this video, please feel free to just give it a like. It goes a super long way in helping my channel get noticed, so I appreciate you and thank you in advance for doing that. Next up, let's talk about aperture. And this is the #1 reason why I won't be picking up this lens, even though I do think it has a lot going for it. It is an f4, and unfortunately I wish it was an f2.8. With that, it would be a really good value at its current price point. But I know at an f4, what this is gonna cause me to do is increase the ISO within my camera, and then I'm gonna lose quality there. And I'm often shooting indoors and in low light situations. So for me, the lowest I wanna go when I buy a lens is an f2.8. So lastly, let's talk a little bit about size and weight. This lens comes in at a very small 12 ounces, and if portability is a selling feature to you, this might be a lens you wanna go with. However, the 20mm Sony that we've talked about in this video is only 13 ounces, and then the Tamron comes in just over 14 ounces. So those aren't massive lenses in their own right, and I don't know if that's gonna make the biggest difference for me. I do like to travel a lot with my photography, so I appreciate a smaller lens, that's for sure. But with these zooms, what I like to do is I like to keep one on the low end, 16-35, maybe a 28-70 or 28-75, and then something that goes up to 200mm. So 3 lenses in my bag. It's not the end of the world if one's a couple ounces heavier. To conclude, why I'm not picking up this lens primarily is price. and the aperture of being a constant f4, I'd rather save the $300 and pick up one of the other wide angle lenses that I've talked about in the video, whether it be the old 16-35 that does have stabilization in it, whether it be the existing wide beast that is the Sigma 17-28, or if you just really care about aperture and you need a wide angle lens, maybe that 20mm 1.8 is a really good option as well. All in all, it depends on you and your use case for this lens. If you have very specific instances where you need these lenses and you have clients depending on you, we'll definitely go with the one that you need, and maybe it is the 16-35 f4. But if it's not, save a little extra money, consider the options I gave you in this video, and that's pretty much it. If you found value in this video, please give it a like. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Matty out.